again.
Yeah, he just wanted to make sure that the Bud really was disabled. Now Chip will commit to a starting sequence.
Okay, there's what you see live from the Squire shop in the cockpit of Earl Hall. Oh my, look at those pictures. He is now down in the south end of the course, getting ready to come back onto the course. Those boats already in the backstretch.
Now look for the Budweiser now right off the, there he is.
He's still there.
But wait a minute, Budweiser may have a problem. Yes, Budweiser does have a problem.
You got fire?
No, we don't. We got our listing, though, a little bit.
Yeah, he waved his arms and was not waving an object, so evidently he doesn't need assistance right away. Bernie Little, very concerned, the owner of the Budweiser, winningest owner in the business. But in the meantime, we got a race to run. 40-second mark. They're all in the backstretch.
This heat will be very important for Chip because this is got the national championship on the line. With the Budweiser going dead in the water, if Chip could win this heat, that'll put them back on the top for the #1 position in the national points.
The boat on the inside is the Kenny Toyota with Ron Armstrong.
This is a boat that we really need to keep an eye on. This being the former pay-and-pack boat, has got awful good straightaway speed and can turn extremely well. It could be a good race.
Excuse me, John, but look at him force him way outside.
Yeah, he's pushing Chip around a little bit. He knows that both these boats can run real well. This should be a good smoking start here. They're just about on time.
Earl Hall, as you can see, he's got nothing but blue in front of him as we get ready to start now. Heat 1B, a hot start. It's lane 1. It'll be the Atlas Van Lines. And lane 2 is the Kenny Toyota. There's the race for first and second. Third place, the Squire shop. On the right side of your screen, the Kenny Toyota. There's what Earl Hall is seeing in his Squire shop. He's just on the outside of the Atlas Van Line. Down into the south third. Here we go. Live from Sky King as they roll into the south third. The Van Lines with an excellent start. Second place, as we can tell from now, is the Kenny Toyota. We'll keep going to see some of the water hitting that live camera aboard the Squire shop, the microwave, breaking up just a little bit. And now as they break out of that south turn and head down the backstretch. Chip Hanauer, the 29-year-old native out of Seattle, in that boat that's only a year old. It started last year with that brand new safety cockpit. Looks like a 3-second lead so far, and oh goodness, here goes Hanauer. He is rolling along in that backstretch, running beautifully right now. They've had engine problems in the past. There's what the Squire sees as he is in third place, I believe. Yes, he is behind the Kenny Toyota. 4-second lead now for Chip as he rolls into the first turn, or rather the north turn, up by the bridge, coming around, getting ready to complete lap number 1. You see the vertical spray. That's from some of the brackets that hold on to that skid fin to keep it next to the boat. It's nothing. It's not a drag. Doesn't bother the boat at all. So there's Chip Hanauer coming in, completing lap number 1. There's the third place boat. That's the Squire shop. Back to the Atlas Van Lines on lap number 2. 5.5-second lead now for Chip. Third place, the Squire shop. As you see him cross the finish line for lap number 1. The two rooster tails on the left is Chip Hanauer. On the right is Ron Snyder and the Kenny Toyota. Final place, last place, Scott Pierce. He right now in the Tempest, coming around the north turn. Lap speed 126 miles per hour for Hanauer in the Atlas on lap number 1. Out of the south third, Chip Hanauer. That new safety cockpit, one of the safest, well, it is the safest cockpit in the business. Honeycomb all around him. Second place, Ron Snyder, the Kenny Toyota. He could get a bundle of points right here if he can keep it rolling and hold on to his lead. Looks like he could. Hanauer rolling past the log boom up here where those rollers bounce off the log boom and come back into the turn. But he seems to be rolling beautifully. There's the distance between the first and second place boats. On the right is the Kenny Toyota and Hanauer and the Atlas on the left. Again, if you joined us late, the Budweiser went dead in the water in the infield prior to the start of this, the first heat of the hot boat, 1B. Hanauer coming around, getting ready to finish lap number 2. Boy, Chip running beautifully. That thing's running 6 times better than it did this morning. From Sky King, oh, beautiful shot of Chip rolling down. There's Ron Snyder, got his first win ever in that boat this year on the Lake of the Ozarks. First race on the circuit for 1983. Third place boat, the Squire shop, completing lap number 2. Average speed, 123 miles per hour for Hanauer. Boy, those pictures are beautiful out of that Squire. They've had trouble with engines all last week and this week, but they're running well now. The Atlas Van Lines coming out of the south third. He's on the third lap. Second place to Kenny Toyota. There's the lead. The Chip is widening ever so slightly. He's doing very well. Again from the helicopter, staying right along with Chip. Chip Hanauer with 2 wins so far this year in Detroit and then in the Gold Cup in Evansville, Indiana. 2 wins and 3 second-place finishes. And again, if he finishes here, he'll have 400 points and will overtake the Budweiser in total points. Ron Snyder, second place, the Allisons. That boat has won 21 races in the last 10 years. Third place, the Squire shop, rocking and rolling. There you see what Earl sees as they go down along the log boom. Beautiful pictures. Squire shot going into the north third. Here's Chip Hanauer completing lap number 3. The U1, of course, the one standing for the national championship last year. Famous pickle fork, you might say, with the blowholes on each side of the cockpit. Very steamboat. 11-second lead now for the Atlas Van Lines, and ran a lap on number 3, 121.6 miles per hour. Chip Hanauer getting ready now to pass the Tempest. He is lapping Scott Pearson, the Tempest. Again, Earl Hall, who was in 3rd place. American Speedy Printing, 4th place, coming across, finishing lap number 3. That's the boat that won last week in Pasco, as you see the blue blaster go down the backstretch. 3rd place, Squire Shop, going into that south turn. Check it. Yeah, it is the south turn. Okay. Oh, those pictures, they don't need words. That just gives you some idea what Earl's going through. The manifold pressure, the top left dial, RPM to the center as he goes into the north turn. Chip Hanauer completing lap number 4. He's got 1 left, and he'll have himself 400 points, and he will overtake the Budweiser in the national point standings. The lead was at 369 points. He was behind the Bud by 369 going into this heat. Chip Hanauer, 1st place out of Seattle, his 2nd year in driving this boat. Of course, he came from the Squire Shop. Got his first drive in the Barney Armstrong machine back in 1976. 2nd place, Ron Snyder. Winningest cab, a conventional cab in the business. Lap 4 times, speed 120 miles per hour. So Chip playing back a little bit, not very much. 3rd place, Earl Hall. He's had several 3rd place finishes this year. Very consistent, even though they had the engine problems the last couple of weeks. 1 more lap for the lead boats. Coming around now to finish the lap number 4 is the American Speedy Printing. A little surprised they're going this slow. They have a few problems. Maybe didn't have that good a start. Maybe they just want to be one of the top 4 to go on to the final heat. Jack Schaefer Jr., the driver, as you see the Atlas Van Lines going down the backstretch. They've got that boat dialed in absolutely magnificently as they go into the north third now, getting ready to complete lap number 5. Again, that vertical spray looks like Namu sometimes the way it shoots up. John Walters, what do you think of Chip and his performance here?
I think Chip's running the boat real conservative right now. He knows that his #1 competitor, the Budweiser, is dead in the water, so he's trying to save the equipment and make sure that everything hangs together and can play real strong in the final heat. The water is obviously getting real rough out there. You can see all that white water being pushed off the recovery areas a long ways forward on the sponson, so that's a good indication of just how lumpy it really is.
Chip Hanauer taking the victory. Here comes your 2nd place boat, and a little slow is Ron Snyder. He's past the exit buoy, coming down the main straightaway. Come on, Ron, keep it going, baby. He's got the Squire Shop coming around pretty hard. Oh, he's still got 1,000 feet to go. Here comes the Squire Shop on the outside. On the left, you see the Ron Snyder going dead in the water right there. Let's see if he can do it. No! Ron Snyder gets 2nd place in the Kenny Toyota. 3 seconds he held on to 2nd place. Earl Hall gets 3rd place in the Squire Shop.
Boy, that's about as close as you want to get.
Coming in 4th place now
Ron?
is, the American Speedy Printing coming around. We'll go by Ron Snyder now. And the Tempest with 1 more lap to go, I believe. And then we will complete Heat 1B. Ron Snyder, the main straightaway, still sitting there. As you see the Squire, the 3rd place boat. There's your 4th place boat. The winner last week in Pasco, American Speedy Printing. That's the old Fidelco, Steve Reynolds' love of labor last year, as Jack Schaefer Jr. brings it in. Well, gentlemen, boy, a surprise right off the start with the Bud going dead in the water.
Yes, it was. You know, I thought Jack Schaefer took a good run at the Squire Shop, pushed him a little bit. But Jack, knowing that the Budweiser was down and that he was ahead of at least Scott Pearson, the Tempest, knew that he would secure enough points to put himself into the final heat. I think he did a pretty competitive job, but I think that was a very smart move on Jack's part.
Thinking man's finish.
Yes.
On the old report card, let's give an A to that camera aboard the Squire Shop. Those are sensational pictures.
Kind of dramatic there when she came out of the turn there at the end. And, boy, I'll tell you, you got to know Snyder was looking over his shoulder going, oh my gosh, where are the oars?
Well, you can see from the camera on the Squire, too, that little dot up there. He had to get by him somehow, and Snyder had another 1,000 feet to go, and, well, we saw what happened. Squire with a 3rd place finish. Now Earl Hall, rookie this year, and member of the APBA Hall of Champions, will take the Squire Shop back in. They lost something like 6 engines in the last couple of weeks. They've really had a tough time. But Earl got this one, kept it alive, and got himself 3rd place finish.
That that's really quite a vantage point that's offered from that camera as we're looking at it right now. I mean, that's a tremendous shot over Earl's shoulder. It really gives the fans a perspective of exactly what it looks like when you're out there with all that water in front of you.
And you're seeing him head on home now to the pit area, and you'll see as the water starts to spray up over the top of the leading edge there, and a little bit of spray gets on the lens of the camera, the protective box. Now he'll be looking around for his crew to be holding their arms up, show him where to come into the slip. He sees his crane now, and he's coming home.
Those pits look a little small when you're coming in at about 60 miles an hour, and that's very fast.
That the ending of this heat was pretty exciting. Here's what happened. Coming out, as you know, we had a situation where the Frank Kenny Toyota lost power 1,000 feet from the finish line. The Squire Shop came charging into the corner looking for him. He had the opportunity to pick up second place, and it got to the point where the Frank Kenny, barely moving, was headed for the line, and the Squire Shop was attempting to do it at speed, but that 3 seconds interval just was too much for the Squire Shop to be able to make up the distance, and as it turned out, you had the Frank Kenny Toyota scored second place overall.
Yeah, I think Earl Hall drove a good race, third place. He knew where to stay out of position or out of the way, and yet he's got a competitive boat enough to where he can get up there and get some points. That was a good job by Earl.
It was.
There are the final points now. Atlas Van Lines now with those 400 points. Mike, you go ahead. This is your area, Bob.
The Atlas with 400, they get full points, of course. The Frank Kenny Toyota with 300 for second place. Squire gets 225, 169 to the Speedy Printing, and 127 to the Tempest. The Budweiser did not start. We saw our listing a little bit. Actually, Kropfeld was standing over on the right sponson, just trying to avoid, I think, a direct glare from Chip Hanauer, who took one last look to see if he wasn't playing possum before he went by and committed for a start.
I like what Steve said, like a bunch of vultures.
Oh, he swims around like that big white shark.
You know, Michael, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Kropfeld waited just to the opportune moment when Chip wasn't looking at him to give that all-clear sign.
As you probably know, Buddy Byers used to go out and try to lead people to the line. He would shut his boat off, and he'd wait and let them wonder what he was doing, and just before the 1-minute gun would fire, off he'd go again. So it's been done before, gentlemen, and it might be done again.
Who was the trickiest? Was it Bill Muncie? What? As far as throwing, crafty little moves in there, maybe looking like the engine is braking on him or something like that at the start.
You know, Don, when I was racing the Circus, I've gone by Bill and have him look down to the cockpit and throw his arms in the air like, oh no, what was wrong? And I would pass him thinking he was out of the contention until we hit the starting line when that blue blaster would rocket right on by me. And figure he got me once more.
Chip Hanauer being escorted now over to the winner's circle. Something new you might have noticed, we don't grab the winning driver out on the finger piers. It's just too dangerous. Somebody's going to get wet, so they escort the winner, just like an Indy race or USAC race, whatever. They take him over to a winner's circle stage area, and it's a lot easier for everybody to get their interviews that way. Squire Shop, nice going camera.
Yes, indeed.
We indeed have the winner here. Chip Hanauer talking about winning this second heat.
Dean got in trouble there when we were fighting for the inside lane there, and I think must have loaded up or something, so that made it a lot easier with him out of it.
Chip, one question. You love to be out front, don't you? Nice and a little smoother out there.
Yeah, actually there's no place that's smooth today, but it's better out there than it is anywhere else, that's for sure.
In the final heat, the competition has got to come from the Bud. I imagine he can get fixed up and back in it. You're not feeling that good about it yet.
No, not at all. That was, I think it was a minor problem that knocked him out of it. So, by the final heat, they'll be ready to go.
Choppy waters bothering you at all?
Yeah, it is. It's bothering everybody, actually. It'd be a lot nicer if this wind did go away. Lake Washington is always rough anyway, and when you get this wind on top of it, it can be real treacherous.
Okay, Chip Hanauer, the winner of this fast heat. We're going to go right now to Lou Gellos.
Tony, with us is the boat that almost finished second. It was darn close. When you came out of the exit there, you all of a sudden saw the Toyota. That must have been a little surprise for you.
Well, it looked like he was having some problems. About lap 3, I could see some smoke coming off of each corner when he'd come out of it, and I could see a little bit of oil in the water. So I figured he was probably having some problems, and I didn't know if he'd be able to last to the end of the race or not.
Well, we joined you in the cockpit with the cockpit camera, which worked, for your information, quite well, and we saw you come out of the turn and saw the view you saw. There was the Frank Kenny Toyota, and he had about 1,000 feet to go and was just dead coasting. Did you almost catch him? How close was it? Or did you think you had him?
Well, I think he was fairly safely second. He's handling the rough water and the wind a lot better than we are, and we've got a lot more engine left, but at this point we can't use it until we make some adjustments. The boat's very light on the water.
What adjustments will you make?
Well, I think we'll probably change some air dams and maybe a propeller, but engine-wise, everything's working great.
Okay, Earl Hall, who unofficially got third place, nearly got second. We'll talk to the Toyota camp as soon as they get the boat back in camp.